Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. This is Jonathan E. with the Thermopylae Information Network. I wanted to do a video today talking about a couple of different things. First of all, being the president's announcement this afternoon that he's willing to trade some of the things that the Democrats are looking for on immigration for $5.7 billion in border wall funding. I know that there's some people on our side out there who are kind of losing it about this. Let's be clear here. He basically offered something that he knows the Democrats can never agree to, and that's why he offered it. Okay, so don't lose faith. Don't fall into the issue of, doing what they want you to do, which is giving up support for the president. He knows that they can never agree to this. It'll be political suicide for them. If they cave 1 ounce on the wall, they're done. Every bit of their funding is reliant on the fact that the people who gave them the money to run for office in 2018 are expecting them to impeach him and to not give up on the border, or not give him anything on the border wall. They'll be sunk, okay? He's playing them. So please don't let yourself get played, and have some faith. He's not going to commit political suicide at this point. He's come this far. He's not going to give in without getting the stuff that he needs. And, let's face it, 5,000 people were coming a couple of months ago to the border. He put the troops down there. The troop deployment has been extended. And in the meantime, he's been having the troops lay more razor wire, all right? 50 of the 500 or the 5,000 that tried to come to the border got across, okay? And they got across in parts that hadn't been fortified yet. Those 50 were arrested immediately and put in detention. So far I think it's been pretty effective. And, I know there's some people that don't necessarily care for the idea of putting razor wire along the border. They call it chicken wire. Let me assure you, razor wire that they're using down there is what the United States Army protects their bases with when you're in a foreign country against a hostile power fighting a war. This is not chicken wire, okay? It's very effective, and that's why nobody's been able to get across. So please don't lose it on this. Have some faith. The man's going to do what he says he's going to do. This is what he has to do to appear like he's making some concessions. He's playing them like a fiddle. He's played them like this before. The last time they had a budget issue, he basically was going to give them all of DACA, and they still wouldn't go for it. So keep the faith. This is not over. He's certainly not going to cave in at this point. The other thing that I wanted to talk about real quick was the BuzzFeed article yesterday. And this will all tie in. You'll see how this all ties in at some point in the future. We're going to be doing some videos. They're going to go a lot more in depth on these issues. The BuzzFeed article, I had actually started to do a video on. It was a BuzzFeed article where they were talking about having an anonymous source that said that Michael Cohen, convicted liar Michael Cohen, had given information to Robert Mueller's office about Trump arranging some kind of meeting with Putin, and that Trump had told Cohen to lie about it to Congress, okay? The meeting was supposedly to facilitate a real estate deal. You have to be a complete moron, and I'm not talking about anybody that watches this video or anybody that's on our side. I'm talking about just in general sense of reality. You have to be a moron to think that anybody, whether it's Donald Trump or anybody else, would feel like they're in a better position to close a deal in a foreign country by becoming president. If he wanted to do the deal, he would have done the deal long before he became president, all right? Anything that the president proposes in a foreign country as far as a treaty or any kind of business deal has to be approved by Congress. So the idea that Michael Cohen would go in and lie about Trump telling him to lie to Congress to try to hide this deal is absolute nonsense. There's no way he would have ever made this deal once he became president, okay? It's just one more of a long line of stories that they're running out there to try to do exactly what, some of the people on the comment boards are suggesting today. And I think some of the people on the comment boards are just trolls. Some of the people that pretend to be, on our side. And they're saying, oh, well, Trump's giving it all up. We got to give up. That's what they want you to do. They want you to get frustrated, and they want you not to go to the polls in 2020. Okay, this guy has been a fucking wrecking ball against everything that they've done. And they've tried over and over and over again to try to propose anything that's going to either A, intimidate him into giving up power, or B, get people like us to not show up at the polls. Okay? If they had any information like this, they would have proposed that. They would have put this out there long ago. He's fucked up so much of their program over the last 2 years, you wouldn't wait this long to put out anything that you had. If they had anything that they could impeach him for, we would have already seen it. Okay? Every day that goes by is one day more that he's screwing up their program. All right? So it's all a massive psychological warfare campaign. Okay? And I do mean that. I'm not, using I'm not using words here just to try to hype things up. Okay? The BuzzFeed video that I was going to do yesterday basically was talking about the same thing. By the time I got ready to post it, Mueller's office had already come out and denied everything. Okay, so it kind of became irrelevant to put it up there. I do still have the video. If any of you'd like to see it, I would be more than happy to post it. I'm going to also be getting into some of the topics I covered in that video a little later on in a lot more detail. But basically, the point of the video that I did yesterday is that this BuzzFeed article was nothing more than one more in a long line of psychological warfare operations that they're running against you and against me. They look at us as the enemy, okay? I know it's popular on our side, and Don Jr. came out and said that the media is the enemy of the United States. They are. You're not journalists anymore. You're propaganda agents. That's all you are, in the true sense of Joseph Goebbels. You're propaganda agents. And I don't know anywhere where it says that people who are propaganda agents are covered under the rules of journalism. You gave up journalism a long time ago. And what happened yesterday is just further proof of that, okay? It's a massive psychological warfare campaign, and they do look at you as the enemy. Okay, and when somebody calls you enemy, which they do to us, you need to look at them as the enemy too. So I don't have any problem calling the media the enemy. The reason they look at us as the enemy is that we had the audacity, the unmitigated gall to show up on November 8th, 2016 and vote for a man named Donald Trump. All right? And since even before that, when he first got the nomination, all right, I knew that this was going to start happening because the next day, the Bushes and other prominent Republicans, Mitt Romney, some other people I can think of, and a lot of Republican donors, big money donors, came out and said that they could not support this man. He's from your own party. And right away, they jump over to Hillary Clinton. Why? Because they're all part of the same coin, two sides of the same coin. Democrat and Republican has just been a ruse for the longest time now. It's what they've used as a control mechanism to control people. Along came Donald Trump, a real candidate that nobody ever thought this guy would have had any chance in the world. Okay, once he did what he did, which was to go out and tell us what we wanted to hear, the country that we want this country to be, he promised to make it again. Okay, make America great again. Well, once he won that nomination, they had no choice but to start coming out and running a massive psychological warfare campaign, which included, right off the bat, getting the pollsters to go out there and try to pretend like this guy had no popular support, hoping that we would not show up at the polls. All right, am I really supposed to believe that people who do polling for a living were off in their numbers from what reality wound up being? Some of them were off by up to 16%. Okay, that was a straight propaganda move right there. All right, then he got elected, and we now know from some of the other hearings that have been heard, they had an insurance policy in place. All right, and that has to do with the P-Gate dossier and a bunch of other stuff. We're going to get into that a whole lot more in another video here, but this is a massive psychological warfare campaign, and you only do psychological warfare campaigns against an enemy population. That's how they look at us. We're an enemy population to them because we want to exercise our God-given rights to choose who our leaders are. Okay? And like I said, the Republicans, most of them, rhinos, are part of this same operation. All right. This is a massive power struggle for control of the biggest military and the biggest economy in the world. Okay. And that's why you see these kinds of things going on. The visceral reaction that these people have had to this man getting elected, I've never seen before in my life. I'm 51 years old. And this is just, it's unprecedented. So I know there's more going on here than what they're saying. This has nothing to do with a bunch of people thinking that a guy who was a billionaire and a TV show reality host, that he's just not qualified for president. He's more than qualified, certainly more qualified than any of these fucking losers in Congress. All right, on a side note to that, you know how many budgets Congress has passed since the Congressional Budget Act of 1974? Four times they've managed to pass a budget. All the other times they've been on continuing resolutions. Okay, so Congress is some of the biggest losers in the face of the earth. All right, so don't listen to what any of these people have to say. Don't put any faith in any of these rhino Republicans. Okay, this is all meant as an operation to try to get, again, you and me to give up on this guy and to not show up to the polls. Don't give in to them. Don't feed into this. All right. We're going to do some videos here in the future where I'm going to break down. It's way too much to talk about in one video. I'm going to break down section by section the groups of people. It's not so much individuals. It's groups of people that are running this psychological op. Okay. And it's pretty easy to see once you spell it all out. You get everything, all the ducks lined up in a row. You know, it's going to start becoming a whole lot more apparent. But again, this is a battle, it's a clash of the titans for literally control of the future of the greatest military and the greatest economy that the world has ever known. This is for all the marbles, and they're taking the gloves off, okay? He's taken the gloves off as well. He's fucked their program up more than most people could even possibly imagine. So in the meantime, my message to you is just keep the faith. You know, the day that I feel like this thing's gone, the day he gives them everything they want and doesn't get anything he wants, I'll be the first person to come on here and tell you, yeah, the battle's over. We're going to have to think of something else here. And believe me, we got plenty up our sleeve. We're not going to be giving this shit up anytime soon. Okay? One other prediction that I'll make too is he painted him into a corner today. I would not be surprised if Congress comes out and offers a budget bill where they will say, we'll take everything we want right now. We'll give you your border wall 2-3 years from now. He'll never go for that. All right. This is just the way politics are played. You have to play the game. Okay. Especially if he's going to invoke a national emergency at some point. You have to look like you have been trying to work with the other side. And that's exactly what he's doing. I think this is a masterful play. And I could be wrong. You know, I mean, everybody's human. And I'll be the first to admit when I'm wrong. I will be the first to make a video and come out and say, you guys were absolutely right and I had this wrong. I don't think so. I've been pretty on to this from the very beginning of what's going on. But please keep the faith, you know, maybe send the White House a message telling them that you fully support him. He needs our support right now. He needs to know that the people that voted for him are standing behind him. So keep an eye out for the videos that are coming up. You know, it'll be very clearly labeled that this is all part of the psychological warfare campaign. I'm going to explain it in a lot more detail. In the meantime, thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe to the channel. We've got a lot more good information coming out there. Please share the video. And again, if you have any comments, I welcome all comments, whether you agree with me or not. I'm respectful of everybody's right to have an opinion, even if it's not one that I necessarily agree with. I've gotten some great comments, and I answer every one of them. So please go on and make a comment if you have something to say. In the meantime, this is Jonathan E. with the Thermopylae Information Network. Keep the faith, irons up, and have a good day.